I'll try to be quick. I feel like this is where I'm losing a lot of you. This video's featured story is Persistence of Vision. It's basically spooky Who Framed Roger Rabbit. It's set in the derelict remains of a theme park built under the Soviets, where one of the attractions teaches children how animation is made, and there's a piece of lost technology in that attraction which can physicalize and give life to cartoon characters. There's a wonderful audio rendition of this over at the No Sleep podcast. It's one of my stories that they optioned to read on their show. It's very well done, very immersive sound effects blended with ambient background audio and music. Spectacular voice acting by David Cummings and the rest of the No Sleep crew. It's on season 6, episode 8, and this is the main character, Peter Possum, a Soviet knockoff of Mickey Mouse made for propagandistic purposes. I wrote this story about almost a year exactly before Bendy and the Ink Machine was revealed, so I don't want to hear about it. I actually emailed the creator of that game about the similarities and never heard back from him. There is a neat sequel to this one too, The Space Between Moments, where unfortunately for humanity, the toon matter that the living cartoon characters are made out of is contagious. If they interact with humans in a way that's slapstick or funny, a conversion process takes place such that very soon everything on Earth almost is converted into a cartoon equivalent, including billboards, cars, buildings, like you may have seen in Toontown in Roger Rabbit or other animated features. The story follows a group of scientists living in a hermetically sealed lab designed to exclude toon particles as they feverishly work against the clock on a way to reverse the process. The hamster is back underwater and has been for most of the month. I submerged the finished module not long after. There he is. Not long after the last video. Everything works well. There's a little leak on the air intake, the umbilical on this module. It's not really a big problem. There's a huge surplus of air. It's leaking from the hinge. I've never seen it do that before. Little cat. So that's good news. I think a common question I receive and I want to answer in this video is, what's the future roadmap of this project? From people who don't follow the Patreon, so they don't know where things are going. I tried to raise money for an outdoor dome tent to put all the hamster stuff outside under a dome, like a dome city. That's not going well. Still waiting to see if that changes. I have my heart set on it. But for the underwater stuff, since I'm limited to the aquarium for the foreseeable future, I was thinking of doubling up the habitats, making 2-story modules, which would of course entail double thickness ballast pods for twice the weight to keep the additional air submerged. And that would give the hamster more living room and give me the ability to separate the fluff room from where the wheel is, so the wheel can turn more easily. Have a dedicated toy room for things to chew on. I think I won't put the water bottle sticking out of the top floor, because then it would penetrate up through the surface of the water in the aquarium. Instead, I can put it in the center inside of the top module and have the drinking tube go down through the floor to the lower level. I was thinking maybe I'll put electric lights, LED lights like in Hambunker, on the lower level of these modules. But then I thought, wouldn't it be nice if the hamster had dark space? So if it doesn't want to be in light all the time, it can choose to be in a shaded spot. That's entirely doable. It's not super ambitious like MegaHab is, but it's something I can do with what I have where I am now on my existing budget. And it would be cool for you at home to see a different site in the aquarium, and for the hamster to have more living space with, I guess, just a vertical climbing tube in between the floors, just like Hambunker. Alright, try to ignore the mews in the background. It's Gremlin meowing under the garage door because she's trapped inside and she can hear my voice out here. Little cat. And also All Ball, lab assistant number 001, making an appearance. A lot has changed since last time I did a car video. Oh, you're not. You sound like you're dying. Oh, poor baby. Don't touch the tripod, kitty. I've gotten a lot of stuff since then. I've got a car vacuum, which is important. My car's got kind of grody. I need to clean it up, and the two that I had before, one of them disappeared, the other broke. It's all in this nice little carrying case. This is a 12-volt one. I didn't want to bother with rechargeable batteries because that's the part that dies the quickest on these things, and oftentimes it's not user replaceable. I got a bucket heater, having just found out about these things. This is an adjustable one. Let me try that again. It has a sensor going down the middle that detects how hot the water is, and it will turn itself off and on alternatingly in order to keep the water at the temperature you indicate. This is a 1300 watt unit. I had a choice between 1300 watts and 1500 watts. I went with 1300 because I don't want to use all the power from the inverter. I can't use more than 1500 watts or it'll blow a breaker. And in the mornings when I'm heating up water for a shower, I want to still... Quiet! For God's sake. I want to still be able to use the heated blanket to stay toasty while I wait for that water to heat up. Here's the heated blanket. Still in its case because I want to keep moisture out of it until I plan to use it. So that's how it's going to live up in the cargo carrier on top of the car until I need it. Speaking of cargo carriers, I had the idea on stream a while back for a cargo carrier with flexible solar on it, and Yakima thought that was such a good idea of their own accord. They made one with 36 watts of solar, which only charges USB devices, for $1,500, and I was like, what? Come on. It doesn't even look that well integrated. I'll put a picture of it on screen now. I can do better than that. I can just get $189 worth of PV, which is how much a 100 watt panel costs from Renogy, and I can fucking hot glue it on the top of my own cargo carrier for less than that by a long shot, and it will work better, and it'll charge a Jackery, which is what I need it to do. Anyway, this heats the water. Here's the shower setup. This is these things go bad quickly, just because they have a submersible pump, and those don't tend to last forever. The nice thing is this runs off of any 12-volt power source. It uses 12-volt barrel plugs. I've talked about this before. It came with a power bank. I don't know where I put that. I don't need it. I have a billion of those. That's just going to be in the background the whole video. Just get used to it. I can actually run this off my backpack. So I just need to set up the shower tent, put my backpack next to the tent, dunk this in the bucket, hooked up to that tube and the shower handle, and plug this into here, and presto, I have water pressure. Forever and ever and ever, because this backpack battery is quite a large battery for what I'm going to be using it for. Tuck that back into the case. Just to show off, this is a full-size shower head. This is a nice quality of life improvement over the one I had before. This guy back here is a thermoelectric fridge. Now, I've got to warn you about these. These are fool's gold. They don't last very long inherently. Doesn't matter how much you spend on one. Well, that's not quite true. I bought a big expensive one for $200 to $300, if I recall, NutriChef, back in 2017 when crypto was going crazy, and it lasted for 3 years of continuous use, which is the upper end for very high quality thermoelectric coolers. But they're just inherently short-lived. This one I'm only going to use while I'm actually camping. It runs off of 12 volts. Interesting to note, this will also run off of my backpack. I have plugged it into the backpack battery because it's a 12-volt appliance and it doesn't use too much juice. It doesn't draw too many watts. It will run off of the backpack, which means I have portable cooling if I want to bring some drinks with me walking away from the campsite, or just hanging around the campsite and keeping it away from the car. This is also a nice little discovery. This is a battery-powered fan and light combo. 3 different fan speeds, also a light fixture with different light levels, and a hook built in. So if you have a tent, most tents have a little loop at the peak you can hang stuff from. You got now a dual fan and light, and it has its own built-in 18650 battery. But you can plug it into an external power source. So I can either plug it into the car here. I'm probably not going to use it in the car. Car has its own fans, it has its own light source. But this would be great for the shower tent, as long as I don't, as long as it's high enough that it doesn't get sprayed. And if you plug it into a power bank like this one, it'll just run forever and ever and ever. This is the kind of thing I was looking for back in the day when I had a tent, and I was trying to come up with a system like this, but more portable, that it wasn't vehicle reliant, as I didn't have the vehicle yet. And I wanted a system that was cheap, solar powered, limited to USB, and could supply charging, a fan, LED lighting, and heating via my USB heated jacket. So that's actually quite a lot of amenities for such a low power system that runs off of a cheap folding solar panel. And to have that on a tent is a heck of a deal. Oh yeah, I can't forget the piss jug. That is what this is. It's hard to tell. It looks like some kind of weird life support apparatus. I would not recommend using it that way. It's just a nicer version of a piss jug, a quality of life increase. You're not literally pissing into like a bottle or something. This prevents the smell from spreading. It's easy to pop on and pop off. This is where your donger goes, or I guess your feminine penis these days. It's also got an attachment in case you got lady junk, so that you don't spill tinkle everywhere. This goes alongside this folding camping toilet, which you can see fully set up here. It's not great, but it's very compact and it gets the job done, and you can pack it out without spreading the smell or getting shit on any of your stuff. Those both go together inside of this pop-up privacy tent, which really does pack down the small. It's amazing. Once I get it out of here, it's never going to go back into this case. I'm predicting. I hope I'm wrong about that, but God, it's in there tight now, and I'm not taking it out until I really need it. But the tent will have the toilet, the piss jug, and a 5-gallon bucket with the heater in it for the shower water, with the pump system, and my backpack just outside is a power supply for the pump. So just try to envision that in your mind's eye, because I really don't want to set this thing up if I don't have to, because I won't be able to get it back in the damn carrying case. And this will be hung from the highest point inside of the privacy tent. I wish I had a picture for you. Maybe I can put that on screen or something. Furnishing some airflow, which will help with the smell, and some light for dropping dookies in the darkness of night, stealth mode. Now some of you might be asking me, that's one of the stickers that's available on my merch store, by the way, link in the description. Why bother with all this? You can just fucking go piss behind a tree, or use the traditional method of launching your turds into the sky with a potato gun and just let the sky take it. If you're married to someone like the kind of woman who doesn't like to camp, she will really appreciate having an actual bathroom where she can, be away from bugs and have a place to sit and whatnot. And just apart from that, it's a quality of life increase, and there's a lot of off-site camping places where they penalize you for just letting fly as nature intended. So there's a method to my madness, and this is 9/10 of what you get from like an RV is just having a bathroom with a shower versus a van build. I've been trying to crunch that into as small of a space as possible. With this vehicle, I can now do everything you can do with a van build. I have a place to sit, which is either of the two front seats. I have a place to lay down in a bed, which is the back seats converted into a bed. I have a little table, pop-up table. I have the table tray that connects to the steering wheel. So I basically have all the functionality of a van build. The problem was the bathroom. By making the bathroom separate, since I'm not going to be using it while I'm driving anyway, I can just get it out when I hunker down for the night and pack all the stuff out of the rooftop carrier and get ready to use it. I think I have achieved most, if not all, of the functionality of an RV without having to swallow the bitter pill of the poor fuel efficiency of an RV or the upfront expense. Now here's the tent I use. I'm going to throw up a couple of photos so you can see the lighting fixture, all the different power banks I used to have to use before I got the Jackery. I would basically bring one per day, so I'd have guaranteed power even if there wasn't good sunlight. Although I did have these interlocking solar panels, I couldn't make them work as a single pair. I mean, trio, I guess I should say. I had a bunch of them at one point, but I could use them each to individually charge one of the multiple power banks. In this way, I always had power for USB stuff, and you can do quite a lot with USB. For a long time, I've talked about this on prior videos. I chased after that golden grail of doing everything on USB power. It's just not enough, depending on what you want to do. It's kind of amazing. It's able to do as much as it does, though. I mean, it keeps you warm. The thing about a heated jacket is it doubles as a heated blanket, so it's really remarkable. You can even do that much with it. I didn't even think to. I mean, I had a separate fan and light. Not having them combined into a single unit like the one I found would have been a boon back then. As for why I keep this stuff, now that I have the car, the thing about prepping is you don't know when something bad is going to happen, really. There's always warning signs. It's never a given that it's going to spill over into catastrophe. And if you don't guess correctly, then by the time it becomes apparent that something seriously fucked up is happening, all the roads are clogged and you can't get anywhere in your car. So it's not a guarantee that you're going to be able to take your car anywhere. For that reason, although I have a extensive car setup in case I am able to get away in time, and just for car camping, because all this stuff doubles for camping, I also have an on-foot setup, which is the reason for the solar backpack with the battery that I can power a whole bunch of pretty demanding appliances with. It covers everything USB doesn't cover. It'll even boil water. It'll charge my cauldron, which I can boil about 16 ounces of water with in a couple of minutes off of the main battery, or if I'm running on external power, it can take up to 30 minutes. It's not great, but at the same time, when you're limited to just a certain amount of power that you can carry on your person, there are trade-offs. There's always trade-offs. You have to ask when you're designing a system for providing amenities away from civilization, what do I really want to be able to do? What are my priorities? What are my top priorities? Because you're going to have to make some sacrifices. It's a question of how much you can pay, how much you're willing to carry. There's space restrictions, there's weight restrictions, there's money restrictions, there's power restrictions, and it's a logarithmic curve in terms of cost and weight as you move towards more and more amenities and comforts. So you have to decide for yourself where that line is and what you need to be happy out in the wilderness. As for where I'm going to take this project, I don't want one of these. Bears and tweakers can get inside of that easily. I designed my setup for my car specifically around sleeping inside of the vehicle because that's a rigid cage, a protective shell around me that I want to keep. This looks like an interesting concept. It's a bit overpriced. I can probably build the same thing out of an overhead projector screen. It rolls up into that little thing. It's basically what it is. It's just like a pull-down projector screen with little legs. I think I can do better than that for lower money. But that mounts right to the roof rack. That would go right by my rooftop cargo carrier without any trouble at all. Then there's this thing, which is way overpriced. Way over, probably due to economies of scale. That is not what I'm willing to pay for something like that, although that's tempting. This thing looks cool. Not to sleep in, because like I said, I want to sleep inside of the vehicle where fucking wild animals can't get at me. But as a way to have some extra space to set up a table to cook inside of a dry space and whatnot without having to hunch over, that might be a good idea. That price is difficult to stomach, but not totally outrageous. I've given a lot of thought to what I want in a trailer. I don't want a trailer you get inside of like these. I don't need those. I can sleep in the car. What I need is, or could make use of, I guess, is something like a chuck wagon where it's a mobile kitchen. I think I could pack, if I were going to build my own, I could pack a washer and dryer, compact washer and dryer into one side of it, and the other side would have a microwave, mini fridge combo, a sink, and a enclosed shower, which would basically just be a nicer version of the pop-up shower I already have. I don't know if anybody already makes that. They do make mobile kitchens, but I have slightly grander plans that I haven't seen present in the market currently. Last thing, in the process of making this video, I discovered there's another company that makes a much better solar carrier. This one here has 4 panels for 180 watts. It's $3,700 fucking dollars. This is exactly what I want to charge my Jackery or something like that, but I'm not paying that kind of money for it. I could definitely make my own for cheaper than that, but just pointing out that I did overlook some things. There are better solutions out there than what Yakima offers. If any of you in the comments have some ideas about products that could go into the car that could improve my quality of life, solutions for different things that would fit in the rooftop carrier, I want to hear them. Let me know.